G'day guys, Mike from Black Snake Productions here. Today we're going to be learning about the shingleback skink in our little wildlife bite. Stick around and learn about one of Australia's most charismatic and cool little lizards. Katie, what do you like about the shingleback lizard?
It's pretty cool because it looks like it has two heads.
Yep.
Which is very unique, and it's also a deterrent for lots of its predators.
Yep. So they don't want to eat them because they look like they're from Tasmania?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cheeky. What about you, Leo? What do you like about the shingleback lizard?
They look like they have two heads.
Yeah.
This.
Well, that's what Chatty said, but do you have something else that you like about them? What else do you like about him?
They
Have
have armor, so.
Well, they do, don't they?
So everything can like bonk it and nothing happens.
No, they're big, tough little tank lizards,
But
and they're
if
pretty
it's like
amazing.
this,
Gentle.
If it's like the wrong way around, it can kill it.
Yeah, so they're protected from the top, but not underneath. And that's really cool because these guys are actually quite close to the ground. Awesome job, guys.
And they can.
Our little shinglebacks are pretty amazing animals. One of the things that I think is most remarkable about these guys is they actually bond for life. This is called monogamy. So a few animals do this, some animals like albatross and shinglebacks amongst them. Now, monogamy is where basically these guys will pair up and either they stay together the entire time, or with shinglebacks, they actually brumate, which is like sleeping over winter, separately and meet up in spring. Here we can see two shinglebacks found just east of Perth during a research trip a few years ago in October. So these are a monogamous pair, along with some absolutely stunning goldfield shinglebacks that we saw at the same trip out towards Kalgoorlie. So guys, here we have another one of our little shingleback skinks or stumpy-tailed lizards. These guys are omnivores. That means in the wild they like to eat things like yellow dandelions and native daisies and other flowers, lots of greens and leafy greens, but they'll also predate on small grubs, insects, beetles and animals like that. If they can catch them, grasshoppers and any other insects. So these guys here will be quite opportunistic and have been known to even eat carrion off the side of the road from dead animals that have been hit by cars. The shingleback lizard, though, as you can see here, is quite a calm animal, and they make a really good pet. And so we keep them outside during the warmer months. There's another little guy sitting over there with other lizards such as blue-tongue lizards, and in the warmer months our good friend the central bearded dragons. So we have Cunningham skinks, blue-tongue lizards and bearded dragons all living quite happily together. But unfortunately in the wild these guys are very slow reproducers. What that means, being such good pets, is that they often get taken out of the wild. So shingleback lizards are quite regularly poached and kept as pets, which is highly illegal. And the other big problem is some shinglebacks that are more brightly coloured than ours, such as the goldfield shingleback lizard, as pictured here, actually are taken from the wild in large numbers and are sent overseas illegally, which we'll show you now. So many poachers will stick shinglebacks into socks. Now, as funny as that might seem in this case, because although that sock looks nice and cozy, and yes, it's clean, we don't torture animals with most smelly socks, this is actually really cruel. So on a more serious note, this is actually really a nasty thing to do to these animals, and many of them don't survive. So we're going to remove our little friend from the sock here. Come on, buddy. You can get out of my stinky sock and be free in our very fun little lizard pit. You see, hundreds of these animals are intercepted by wildlife officers at airports and in other parts of Australia, being sent overseas for the illegal wildlife trade. Although a shingleback makes a good pet in Australia, overseas these guys can be quite expensive and can be over $1,000 to $2,000, maybe even $10,000 each, depending on the colour of them. So many of them are actually sent illegally overseas, don't survive the trip, and sadly We'll never see their mate again. One of the astounding things about the shingleback lizard, stumpy-tailed, bog-eye, bobtail, whatever you want to call them, is the absolute diversity and colour of this animal. So this one species found from Queensland to Western Australia, through Northern Territory, South Australia, Victoria, through to the ACT, can come in a range of different colours with bright red heads and whites and blacks, browns, yellows, oranges, all these amazing colours and threat displays that they like to show. Obviously, a lot of this has got to do with camouflage. One of the most amazing shinglebacks we've been lucky enough to work with, though, was Popcorn. And Popcorn was a shingleback that lived with us for a number of years and was an absolutely stunning creature. One of the most beautiful shinglebacks I've seen is actually an albino at a reptile park in WA. So shingleback lizards are one of the most amazing creatures in the world because these beautiful animals actually give birth to live young. Now, their young are actually one of the largest species of any animal born to a mother compared to any creature on the planet. Chaddy, do you want to show me how big the babies can be when they're born?
They're about this big.
Yep, so between the front, yeah, good job, Leo. Between the front and back legs is almost how big those babies are born. So those babies are about 2/3 the size of the mother, almost. So they're pretty huge babies. Now, the advantages of this means that these shinglebacks don't actually have to have multiple litters, and that one baby they put all their investment into is actually better protected because of its size compared to, for instance, baby blotched blue tongues. And in fact, we talked about this in one of our earlier videos when we looked at the eastern blue tongue lizard, who have tiny little babies and lots of them, so that those babies, at least one or two of them, survive. But with shingleback lizards, those babies are so huge that things like kookaburras and smaller birds of prey can't actually predate on them or eat them. And things like snakes might even struggle to eat them unless it's quite large. Now, what do you reckon, boys? I reckon we should go inside because these mozzies are eating us to bits, but those shinglebacks with their hard armour probably aren't bothered by them at all. Yep. We're not armoured like the shingleback lizards, are we?
No.
All right, what do you reckon, guys? You want to say goodbye?
Yep.
Bye.
See you later, alligator.